Hi there, I'm Adam, your anchor man for world news on anything but everything, if you get my drift. Okay, we can search the net and miss so much. So here is a little help by putting together a mix of videos. I think you really need to hear about some of the untruths we are told, lies. So many cover-ups, these are not my videos. Credit goes to the makers, their names, etc. are in the videos, so you can look them up for more info. Feel free to follow them. Subscribe here for more info updates.
Some of the most toxic chemicals or foods or products that we consume without thinking that you think we need to stop consuming on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, but here's the easiest one is plastics, BPA plastic. They say that it's not a matter of if you have plastic in your body, it's a matter of how much. So let's use it in context of something that people are really motivated by, which is weight loss.
What's BPA plastics?
It's a chemical within plastic that's within our water bottles. It's in our Tupperware. They actually they're saying that they're now in the microfibers of our clothes, and that's being washed out too. It gets really depressing when you start talking about toxins. It gets washed out into our oceans. So, but for the sake of simplicity, it's bottles mostly that you see, but we've got plastic containers, we've got plastic plates, we've got plastic everything, and that has BPA in it, and that is a toxin that destroys human health. And the biggest and most interesting thing that BPA plastics do is there was a study around something called an agouti mouse. And they took this mouse that had a gene for obesity, and they were twins. They fed them the same food, they gave them the same amount of exercise, but one of the mice got introduced BPA plastic. And the one that got the BPA plastic all of a sudden started to gain weight, and the hair color started to change. And that was the only difference between these two mice with the same genetic profile. And so then when they detoxed the BPA plastic out, the mouse lost weight. So that was the beginning of us understanding a term called obesogens. And obesogens are toxins that actually make us insulin resistant, actually cause us to hold on to more weight. And that's just one category of toxins.
Well, that's terrifying.
It is terrifying. To be completely, from the center of my heart, this is why we have to educate ourselves. This is why we have to wake up. We have to understand that we are living in the most toxic time in human history. And it's not just mental stress. It's not just social media. It's a barrage of all of that is pulling us off course. And I can tell you that I have sat with some of the most brilliant doctors who are generally so concerned on the direction of humanity and where we're going because of the abundance of these toxins.
What are some of the most toxic?
I went to a coffee shop and saw a clearly homeless man sitting on the side of the road, picking up change. Eventually, I saw him stroll into the coffee shop. As he was counting his change to buy something, I started to annoy him by talking to him repeatedly, even when he didn't really want to talk. Since he had maybe $1 in change, I bought him a coffee and a bagel and asked him to sit with me. He told me about how people are usually very mean to him because he's homeless, how drugs turned him into someone he hated, how he lost his mom to cancer, never knew his dad, and just wants to be someone his mom would be proud of. This man was one of the most honest and sincere people I've ever met. After realizing I needed to get back to class, the man asked me to wait so he could write something down for me. Handing me a crumpled receipt, he apologized for his shaky handwriting, smiled, and left. I opened the note, and this is what it said. I wanted to kill myself today, but because of you, I now do not. Thank you, beautiful person. The takeaway:
100 men control 8 billion people. That's a real problem. The problem is not the 100 men. The problem is the 8 billion people. Every time we participate in their system, we continue to give them the power to destroy us, to enslave us. The government is supposed to work for the people, but they flipped it on us. And they got us thinking that, no, we work for them and we better do what the hell they say. There's only one thing needed to change what's going on this planet right now. That's for everyone on this planet to become unified and to do one thing else. Stop playing.
I took my water-powered car running on water. So this is the water tank. This holds 7.5 gallons of water. It recycles the water. So basically, as long as you keep this filled, it will continue running. This is your pump. This is the out of the tank into the pump to feed it to the front of the car through this. This is the return line. This is the drain. So with this line, we follow this. It runs down underneath the car. Goes through the heat exchanger, which is under here, which cools the water so that it runs better. Comes up from this line and into the top of the motor. This I can't talk about too much because this is where everything happens, but it dumps into here, and that is what makes the car run on the water. The recycled water that isn't used runs through this line, which parallels the other line that was down here. Runs back up and into here. So it's a big loop. It continues looping, and that's how we get this thing to work. Got some antifreeze in there because it was cold outside and I wanted to make sure that it didn't freeze.
World War I, World War II were planned long in advance. Called United States, after the change of the century, coming into 1900s, I thought maybe we could expand the business, move the corporation out a little bit. Let's expand business. So they called it a hostile corporate takeover. We call it World War I. So the corporation called United States was able to overthrow the existing corporate order in Europe, but they went broke doing it. And then the bankers pulled their money out in 29. We had something called a stock market crash. So the international banker says, well, if you're broke, what are you coming to me for? I'm not going to loan you money if you're broke. What do you have as collateral? You got any collateral that you can put up for me to loan you the money? The British corporation called United States said, yes, we have the stock. We'll give you stock in the company. You are the stock in the corporation. So they give your body to the banks in Switzerland. So your body now becomes stock for the corporation called United States because you are a money maker. The United States corporation gave your body, your birth certificate, to the banks as collateral for the loan. And that's why today Americans are nothing but slaves. World War I, World War II.
Studies show that 97% of scientists agree with whoever is funding them.
Banned in other countries because it is cleansed with chloride, which is a carcinogen, okay? The pork is banned in other countries because they feed pigs ractopamine, okay? You can look that up too. There's so much of our food that is banned in other countries. It cannot even be sold in other countries. Cannot be sold in Europe, cannot be sold in China, cannot be sold in Japan. It's banned. So when you start to help people understand, if you eat the typical standard American diet, you're going to be sick. This is why 70% of the population is on a prescription drug and 75% is either overweight or obese. You're literally eating toxins, but you don't know it that way because you don't understand chemistry. So when you go to the supermarket and you're buying your food and you turn it on this label, and you're looking at that label and half of it sounds like chemistry, you don't know what that is. You don't know what that's doing to you. So the mentality approach is to help them understand real recognizes real. Real food, your body is going to recognize it. It knows exactly what to do with it. But when you put an abomination, a man-made product that is called food in your body has to figure out what it is, what to do with it. And most of it ends up just sitting here because the body can't figure out what to do with it and it can't process it out. So this is why most people are constipated. So they end up having 10 to 25 pounds of undigested food, fecal matter just rotting in their gut. Chicken is banned in other countries.
This man just destroyed the entire school board with facts.
I have an 8-year-old daughter who is absolutely dynamic, who can do anything. Athletically, intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally, she is a dynamo. And I don't want a man swimming against her in the pool. The fact is, I don't want her playing against boys in soccer. I don't even let my sons rough her up. Do you think I'm going to let your son rough her up? This is what we're talking about. Policy going back to the parents. Because if you think people who love America are willing to fight for it, you haven't met parents yet.
We had the internet and people thought that the cause of stupidity was a lack of access to information. Yeah, it wasn't that.
So when I was younger, I asked my dad, well, what is a socialist? And he said, basically it's someone who wants everything you have except your job.
Not once today have I needed a Hollywood celebrity. Not once, all day long, have I needed a professional athlete. But 3 times today, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I've needed a farmer.
Down, I'm making